G'day legends, so in today's video we're going to be taking a little bit of a break from the hammering of the Belal Muhammad fanbase as we lead up to UFC 315, okay? We're going to give Belal a bit of a break today because I've already seen news that Belal Muhammad wants to run away from the welterweight division. Today's video is going to be about this awesome little post that I saw on Twitter. The post asks, if you can change the result of one UFC fight, what would you do? Okay, this is a really interesting one. My brain started ticking along the second that I started seeing this. So I thought in today's video, what we could do is I'm going to bring up some of the contenders, some of the fights that I want to change the outcome of the most, give my reasoning for them, but then at the end of it, I'm going to have to make a final decision as to which one. I only get to change one. These are the rules of the game in today's video. You only get to change one of these. So which one is it going to be? So I've had a bit of a scroll through the Rolodex and the history book of my mind, and I know for some of the guys that regularly watch the channel, you're going to be like, God damn, Dougie, you are missing out on a lot of fights if you're just going off memory. But I reckon these are some damn good candidates to change, and I'm going to bring them up thusly, go through them, and then we'll pick one towards the end of the video, and maybe down there in the comments you can let me know, out of the fights that I've selected, which one would you have changed? And then also, out of the ones that I haven't selected, like out of your own memory and your own want, if the MMA gods were going to let you change just one fight. Okay, first candidate up for me is going to be Cormier versus Jones 2. My lord, could we get a smaller poster? Is going to be Cormier versus Jones 2, UFC 214. Yes, Cormier versus Jones 2 at UFC 214. This is the one that I'm thinking about changing. Now, why is this? Because this obviously gets added to Jon Jones's legacy so much. We saw in the build-up to the Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, they have Daniel Cormier there on the desk, right? Talking through his own highlights of Jon Jones kicking him in the head and knocking him out. But the disrespectful thing about this is, everybody considers this as a win for Jon Jones, but it's not. It got overturned because of how much Jon Jones was cheating in this fight with all the steroids that he takes. I don't know if you guys have heard about this or not, but one of the big takeaways of this video is going to be that Jon Jones uses steroids. But he was using so many steroids that this got overturned into a no contest. Yet, everyone just completely ignores it. And of course the UFC just completely ignore it and still bring it up all the time. But not only do they bring it up all the time, they make DC talk about it in the promos leading up to the Jon Jones fight, which is crazy. Like, we want to give Anthony Smith this huge thank you package for being such a good company man. Who's been a better company man than DC? And instead of giving him a thank you package, we just make him ritually humiliate himself. So this is a serious contender because it takes... If we could just turn this around, if we could give DC the win here, then that would legitimately make DC, who is just one of the boys when it comes to us in MMA. He is one of the great personalities in MMA. It would make him one of the top 5 greatest fighters of all time. Think about what it would do for DC's legacy, right? Like if DC had legitimately beaten Jon Jones in this fight and then gone on to capture the heavyweight title as well, and he had like... He wasn't just the stand-in champion while Jon Jones was away, driving cars into pregnant women. Again, something else that Jon Jones has actually done. But if DC was actually the legitimate light heavyweight champion and then moved up and became the heavyweight champion, this would change the top 5 GOAT list forever. And DC would be known as one of the greats instead of the guy that came second place to Jon Jones. While we are on the subject of Jon Jones as well, Jon Jones versus Dominic Reyes. This is another one. Jon Jones versus Dominic Reyes, UFC 247. This is another one of those ones that goes on the Jon Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He doesn't have a single loss on his record. The only loss that he has on his record is because of an illegal elbow that really shouldn't have been illegal because it's 12-6. 12-6 is a ridiculous rule. But he legitimately lost to Dominic Reyes. It's just none of the scorecards seem to have taken it that way. So I would have loved to have seen Jon Jones actually lose to Dominic Reyes, and that way, again, we could change the course of history a little bit. And it's not even so much right here with the DC head kick and Jon Jones versus Dominic Reyes. It's not even so much that we're changing the course of history. We all know the way history goes. We know that Jon Jones was cheating against DC. We know that Dominic Reyes won this fight. All we're really doing is correcting the narrative for the casuals out there. Because anyone that isn't a casual out there knows that John Jones was cheating on DC, and knows that Dominic Reyes won that fight. Now, these next ones are a little bit personal for me, and I guess that's what makes this, which fight would you change, such a personal question. The night that Islam Makashev didn't fight Arman Tsarukyan. The night Islam Makashev didn't fight Arman Tsarukyan and Renato Moicano had to step in. I never thought Moicano was going to end up winning a belt. I never thought that Moicano was going to end up winning a belt. But I was enjoying the journey, right? Like, before Moicano fought Islam Makashev, he was already 36 years old. He was already having a collarbone hanging out of his body. There wasn't a chance that he was going to keep on fighting all the way up to the belt. But it was fun watching it. And now that's over, and it was a little bit rushed because overnight we're chucking Moicano in there. So it was a little bit rushed. But not only that, I legitimately believe that Islam Makashev is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Yet we are yet to actually see it properly, truly tested. We need his legacy to be legitimized. And if he had just fought Arman Tsarukyan that night, if he had won, if he had lost, whatever, either way, we would have known where to put Islam Makashev properly when it comes into discussing the top 10 greatest fighters of all time. Right now, all we can say is Islam Makashev is the best lightweight of all time, but the haters are going to say all he's ever done is fought featherweights and taken short notice fights. That sucks. I don't like that at all. I don't like that the Islam Makashev haters are going to be able to say that. Next one up on the list for which fights would I change. This is very personal to me. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Oh, God. Why am I switching it? Stay there. Look at this beautiful poster. UFC 307. Go. Stop being high lit. UFC 307. Dustin Pouyet versus Islam Makashev. Now, I like Islam. I respect Islam. But Islam Makashev has beaten two of my favorite fighters of all time. Alexander Vulcanowski and Dustin Poirier. So even though I love Islam, I am like Alexander Volkanovski's daughter. I stay up at night fearing that Islam Makashev will break into my room and beat me too. If I could have changed the outcome of this fight, Dustin Poirier is going to go down in the history books as the greatest lightweight to never win a title. And everything just seemed... Remember? Do you guys remember? Remember, man? People forget, man. Remember leading into that fight, UFC 307, there was just this vibe that Dustin was going to win. It just felt like everything was going Dustin's way that week. We had this special customized walkout song. He had the gloves. I don't know what it was, but there was just this, he'd never lost 2 in a row or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but there were these circumstances leading up to it. Like, it just felt like this was Dustin's night. And then to me on my scorecards and on one of the judges' scorecards, I'll die on this hill, I had it going 2-2 into the 5th round. Dustin was cut. Islam was cut. It was a war. We saw a good Islam Makashev that night. We saw Dustin Poirier's grappling with Gamrot paying off. It was the best Dustin Poirier we had ever seen. If Dustin had actually won that fight, put down the gloves in the cage in that moment after finally winning the belt, I might have actually started crying with happiness. Legit might have actually started crying with happiness. Dustin's one of my favorite fighters, mate. Just switch that one up. John Jones can keep his disgusting legacy. He can keep it, mate. He can keep his disgusting legacy. Give me one Dustin Poirier legitimate title win. Not an interim. No, not an interim. Against Islam Makashev. Oh, my little heart wouldn't have been able to take it. The next one as well that I want to submit to us for our considerations, and is this the last one? The last one that I want to submit to us for our considerations. Short notice. Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makashev. 11 days notice. Alexander Volkanovski decides to step up and dare to be great. He's had surgery. He's been on the couch sinking beers. He's been depressed because he don't know what his life is going to be like when he's not a fighter anymore. Turns out he's going to be an internet chef. Who would have guessed that's the direction Volk was going in? But Volk didn't know all this back then. All Volk knew is that he was depressed, he was surrounded by his army of daughters, and he wanted to get back in the cage and prove that he was still a man. And he took that fight on 11 days' notice. Do I want to change the outcome of this fight Islam Makashev versus Alexander Volkanovski 2. Do I want to change the outcome of it? I genuinely don't know. Do I want to change the outcome of it? Or do I want to change the circumstances in which the build-up to that fight happened? I think more so, I want to change the circumstances of the build-up to that fight. Because as much as I would love Alexander Volkanovski to be champ and to go down as the greatest fighter of all time, he fought Islam Makashev the best he was ever going to be. Peak Volk fought Islam. And he fought Islam when Islam wasn't able to rehydrate the way he usually likes to rehydrate. He fought him at home in Perth. And he lost that fight fair and square. So if Alexander Volkanovski isn't going to beat Islam at his absolute best, I don't think on any night Alexander Volkanovski would have ever beaten Islam. And that's hard for me to admit, mate. But I think that's true. I think that's true. So when it comes to that fight in particular, I would rather have just changed the date or the circumstances leading up to it. So now we've got to pick one, right? So the question is, do you want to change the outcome of the fight? Do I want to change the outcome of Makashev versus Vulcanowski 2? No, I just want to change the way that it's going. Do I want to change the outcome of Dustin Pouyet? A little bit. Do I want to change the outcome of this fight? Again, this isn't the outcome of this fight. This is, again, I want to change the circumstances. I'd be happy with whatever outcome we got. Do I want to change the outcome of Jon Jones Reyes? Do I want to change the... So, Jon Jones Reyes versus Jon Jones and DC2. Ruin Jones's legacy and get nothing out of it. Or ruin Jones's legacy and get Daniel Cormier's legacy boosted. I think it's better to have Daniel... So at least that way you get Daniel Cormier's legacy boosted. So do I want Daniel Cormier's legacy boosted and Jon Jones's legacy ruined? Or do I want Dustin Poirier's legacy immortalized forever? So what do I want more? Do I want to be a salty, salty man that hates Jon Jones? Or do I want to give Jon Jones his GOAT status and at least have that glorious one night with Dustin Poirier? Jeez, that sounded zesty, didn't it? No, did he? Do I want to have one glorious night with Dustin Poirier or ruin Jon Jones and let DC have a nice win as well? You know what? You know what? If reality continues to play out this way, we still know what you did, John. Like I was saying at the start of this video, this isn't so much a changing history. This is history. It's just changing the narrative that's already out there. So the casuals don't know just how bad Jon Jones is and why he doesn't deserve to be the GOAT. The casuals don't know that. But that is true. He is horrible and he doesn't deserve to be the GOAT. That already exists in this world, regardless of the outcome of this fight. But Dustin Poirier, there's not a reality that we live in right now where he has this one night. So I would rather live in the world that we live in now, where hardcores know that Jon Jones isn't the GOAT. They know that Jon Jones isn't the GOAT. And we get one glorious night of watching Dustin Poirier and dreams come true. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Yeah, this is what we're going with. This is what we're going with. If I could change the outcome of one fight in UFC history, I'm giving Dustin Poirier the win over Islam Makashev. That's what I'm going with, boys. That's my answer to that question. You let me know your answer to that question down there in the comments. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Dougie. I do an MMA video every day of the week, Monday through Friday, and I try and go live at least 3 times a week. If you want to know when all that happens, hit that subscription button down there. Hit the notification bell next to it so you know when I go live. If you're already supporting the channel and you can't be bothered leaving a comment, at least leave a like. That way it helps the channel grow. And if you are one of the supporting, paying members of the channel, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Your names are up on the next slide. And until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.